So,
You ain't getting a new truck with it.
good evening and welcome to our regular meeting of January the 16th. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. And please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Does any member of council have any pecuniary financial interest in Cook? Okay. Now we'd like to move on to our delegation. Mr. Dwyer, you can go first.
Sure. Well, what I wanted to do is put a bench down near the creek, but near the bridge. So it doesn't have to get paid for by the council or anything like that. We just need permission to put a bench in there. And that's for Mrs. Jane Reed, who for years and years and years around here drove all the kids to hockey and all over, and she used to at one time shovel the ice down there by the bridge so the kids could play hockey on there. And then at one time she tried to put a roof on the rink, but that didn't happen. That's okay. But at least she tried in her own sense. She was really, really good to all us kids. If anybody needed a ride, she'd come back and get them. She'd fill her car up. I remember one time she was driving and the steering wheel came off the car. So she had vice grips. She put them on and she was driving all over the place with vice grips on for driving her car. So it was pretty cool. But she was quite a lady. I mean, she raised a bunch of kids. I think it was like 7 or 8 kids here in Killaloe by herself. So she was a single mother, but she always made sure that the kids here got a ride to and from. So it's something that we have to look back on. Charlie knows himself.
You drove me to. I
Yeah.
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, lots of times.
Yeah.
So actually, I went to the Catholic school, and we used to come over here and play for the public school. So we played hockey, and the nuns didn't like it too much, but that's okay. They got over it.
You had a Baptist beat, or Protestants beat you all the time, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
But at that time in Killaloe, you didn't have the opportunity to play a lot of places, so you played here. You played for the public school because they played out of town, and they played against different Golden Lake and Eganville and around. So that the only time we had to play was then. And that's the only place we played. So it was a great thing. It was a great time at that time. So we just wanted to make something for her and for the family. Some of them still live around here. Renfrew, I think, but they lived in the Killaloe area for a long time. And now they're all over the world. And in fact, I keep in touch with her son, Donnie, who's a professor of archaeology in Australia. So that's looking at somebody that came from Killaloe and really made something of themselves, because they didn't have any money. They had nothing. I think most of the time she did work for people cleaning houses, doing whatever she could to make money. So I think it's a really respectful thing to do for something like her, somebody like her. And like I say, it's the only thing we were asking for is permission to put it there. We're going to put a bench that's made out like a hockey stick bench that's put there facing the water. And then there'll be a plaque on it. Now I have pictures and everything of Mrs. Reed and a bunch of other things and some things off the computer that I got that he sent in to me. And I'll bring it to you and present it to you. So some of the people here don't know about her, but quite a few people do. I think they remember her well. She was a great lady, and she did a lot of things for the young kids that lived in Killaloe at that time. And that was the late 50s, 60s, 70s. So I would hope that you give us permission to put something down there. As far as paying for it, we'll pay for it ourselves, like it is backwards. I'm having a local person that's going to be building it as well. So that's, keep it in the area, so it'll give him something to do too. There's a young fellow that lives out off of Mass Road, near Simpson's Pit. And great young man that's doing a lot of his own work out of his own house, so which is great too. And keeping it in sort of the area, so we give a little bit of work to somebody that is not from out someplace else. So that's another thing, you know, you have to look at. So hopefully, we get permission to do that. And I have some friends that are gonna donate, because a lot of the guys that I'm playing, I go out and I cut the greens at the golf course here in the summertime. And so a lot of the fellas that play them, like we have all the Murray brothers and David Harrington, as you all know probably from around here, and Brian McCarthy's, the Callahans actually want to be part of it. Dennis Callahan, who was living here, Dr. Callahan at that time. He's a doctor now, but he's retired. But he wants to donate, so it's good. We're just going to donate ourselves, put it together, get the plaque made, and have some place that we can put it down there. Hopefully that's a thing that you guys agree with. And if you do, I am still at the next meeting. I'll bring you a whole bunch of information on her as well. And from there, you can decide yourselves. But I hope you do it. She was a great lady and a great pillar of the community that we sort of sometimes forget about, but we should remember her. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, by the way.
Does anyone have any questions for Steve? Okay.
Yeah, just whereabouts did you want to put it?
Well, you know where the bridge, where the actual dam is?
Yeah.
Well, just up from there, you go down the track and you're going towards the bridge. On the far side, just facing the water.
Okay. So like on this side of the bridge or that side of the bridge?
Well, it would be
Like the park side of the bridge or the seniors'
not the
home
place
side?
where the waterfall is, but the other side. It's
Seniors,
facing towards where the
Yeah.
towards Charlie's place.
Senior side.
Yeah.
But on the seniors' side?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would be a great place.
Do we
to
own
just
that
sit there.
property though?
Yes, on this side we do.
There's,
You start Mass.
On the senior side, he wants to put
No, facing the senior side.
Okay.
Yeah.
On this side of the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Facing the senior side.
Dean, there's no effect with you as far as,
well, as long as it doesn't affect with snow plowing or
yeah.
that, but not, other than that, no, nothing.
Any other questions, Steve?
No, it just brings forth an interesting thing, because we were talking about putting benches at Pathways Park,
Yeah.
and we had actually got a bench for Danny Harrington, but then it kind of
Yeah.
it didn't happen for. There was a lot of logistical things and getting the bench made and everything else, but there was talk. Somebody said, wouldn't it be nice to have benches for those people in Killaloe that we want to like remember and
Yes.
represent, like those people who have contributed so much to our community around the community.
Mhm.
So maybe this is like the start of a, something
Yeah.
like that, because there are people like Danny. My husband and I wanted to have something put in to commemorate him
Yes.
and his contributions to this community.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a very positive thing.
Yeah, Danny was my cousin, so,
Yeah.
and David and the Murrays. I think all the Irish people in this community are pretty well related. You can tell that by the way we sit in front of the house sometimes and play banjo.
Uh-huh.
Not Irish
And drink Irish whiskey.
So if there's no other questions,
Yes.
can I have a vote? All those in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it.
Thank you very much.
Do we
Really
need
appreciate
to,
it.
do we need Steve to come back next meeting
I don't think you
to
have
bring
to
any
come back,
information with us?
What's that?
I don't think you have to present us with anything else.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah, and it's gonna be made like really, really cool, because we're putting it together so it looks like a hockey stick bench.
Yeah.
So the way it's all made and everything else, and it's gonna be a little bit bigger than, per se, a regular bench, so that a few people can sit on it.
Mm-hmm.
But not overly big. It's not gonna be like a real long pew in a church or anything like that. It's just
I think it's a great initiative, and hopefully it leads to something else too down the road, so.
thank you.
Dean?
Could I just ask a question there? I know Steve's coming back or whatever, could he get in contact with me for placement wise, so it isn't affecting snow plowing, grass cutting and stuff? If council's good with that, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you can get in touch with me, I'll be happy to,
Oh, thank you.
kind of thing, we'll work together.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I just have one more. I would love to hear the history of her, and I think it would be cool to have a little QR code or something on there that people could like learn about her and
Yeah.
her history. And I would like be totally up for helping you with something like that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be a really neat addition to actually learn about, so people can learn about this woman. If you don't know, you come into
Yeah.
our town and like,
Well, that's the thing, there's a lot of people, I mean, you know, it's changed a lot, there's a lot of people, new people that come into town, and I think that it's really
Yeah.
good for them to learn about
absolutely.
some
Yeah.
of the people that did a lot of things for the community at that time. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the same thing as years and years ago where we had, you know, people that were on the Lions Club, that
Yeah.
ran the Lions Club for years, and, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, we had dances down at the community center every Friday night for the kids.
Yeah.
We had a theater in there every once a week.
Yeah. Anyway, get in touch with me, or I'll get in touch with you, and I'll figure. I'll
Yeah,
help you with
I
that.
thought so.
Thanks very much, Steve.
thank you very much, appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. McGinnis.
Well, as you know, we were here last year about Fire Street roads. When we found out that the roads were being done, and then we found out, well, we're too big, decisions were already made. So we thought, well, better come this year, start of the year, rather than halfway through it. So we just like know where, if anything's been doing on the roads, because, you know, they patched it and everything last year, but I mean, obviously it didn't work very well. And, it's worse now than it ever was, so.
Well, we're just starting our budget process now, and when we get into the roads, don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you.
Well, yeah, well, that's why we're here, so we don't forget about us.
I think you're number one on the list, sir.
Yeah. Be the squeaky
Don't be
wheel.
making those promises.
Well, I'm just saying, I think,
But
I
you-
didn't
you
say
are-
it.
We haven't forgotten about you, how's that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good, I'm glad. Now, in the roads committee, are those meetings open to the public, or?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And when are they have?
Basically at the call of the chair.
We went on the
Who is?
28th,
Is there one on
30th.
Yeah, we changed. We changed
Public
it.
Works on the 30th.
And now is that here?
Yeah.
Or on the 30th?
Yeah, and they are open, and the public is more than welcome to come.
Oh, 7 o'clock, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan, motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of January 2nd, 2024, open and closed sessions.
All those in favor? Carried.
Yes, that's the next motion. I must have missed that.
Motion to approve the minutes of the Policy and Procedure Committee.
Moved by Carl Keel, second by Harold Levine, motion to approve the minutes of the Policies and Procedures Committee meeting of October 18th, 2023, open session.
All those in favor? Carried. Bob, you're up.
All right. Hasn't been a lot of activity since the last meeting. Operations, December 20th, we had a dryer fire on Queen Street. December 27th, we had a fire alarm on Round Lake Road. Ongoing activities, weekly truck checks, monthly equipment checks. Recent events, December 20th, 2024, we did end up getting a training schedule established, at least for the first 6 months. And you'll see that in upcoming events. And on January 2nd, you're aware of a flood we had in the kitchen at the Killeen Fire Hall. I've closed that case off. The individual's been discussed, there's been disciplinary action and notes to file. Okay, second document I gave you is this nice and shiny Killaloe Hagerty Richards Community Risk Assessment 2024. OFM has been talking for about 5 years of getting a community risk assessment set up. And it's a little bit here, a little bit there. They developed a dozen templates that you're to follow and make sure you fill in all the blanks. So it's due for July the 1st, this done, okay? So for those of us on the Protection and Emergency Management Committee, keep your copy. We'll be reviewing it when we have our annual meeting. In the meantime, the rest of you have just got more paperweights. Okay, January the 5th, a gentleman by the name of Brian Fetterman, Blue UAV Consulting, sent me an email. It's attached to the report. And what he's, okay, blah, 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 all this stuff. He says, I'm developing a safety management plan for the site. This is the Bone Shear Airport. And I'm including a fire safety section. And he wanted to talk and discuss things like that. So we will put a fire plan together. There's been new gates put in there. I have access to the gates already. So we'll see where that takes us. A lot of military training, little issues like that. Let me see, where am I? A little hoarse these days, excuse me. Upcoming events. Okay, if we're looking at section D under 1, what we have in there is we have our 6 monthly meetings listed. We have our 4 chiefs quarterly meetings listed. Then we have a workshop with NDM and RF to do paperwork. We have a Northeastern Conference and Trade Show for 2 members on March 21 to 24th. PAC 6, that's the Policy Advisory Committees on March 27th. So we're starting to get the stuff together for the year. And upcoming training is, as you can see in section F, we've got training at about 3 times a month. We're planning on 3 times a month. Although every second month we lose 1 night generally because of the bi-monthly meeting. So we're set up now until June 25th. CEMC, there wasn't much happening on CEMC side again this time of year. We're just waiting for our compliance paperwork to come in. That's it.
Good. Any questions for Bob? I just have one. Was there a committee set up for COVID, or was that under the human resource policies? Or were you involved in that at all?
We didn't have a COVID. We were under the EOCG, Emergency Operations Control Group.
Okay. Would it be worthwhile to go through the COVID procedures just to make sure we're up to date?
If you wish.
Not that I know if there's anything to worry about, but is there?
Procedures aren't that arduous, although I think people are a little tired of them at this particular point. But I've got,
That would fall under us at the admin, and I provided them at the policy and procedure meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
Good. Thank you. Dean.
Okay, so regular road maintenance continues, equipment checks as well. As everybody's aware, we had our biggest snowfall of the year so far on Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. So we've been busy doing that with plowing the roads. We are doing snow removal, and just so people know, like we were short 1 staff member on Sunday, so doing snow removal, it takes time. Usually it's 2-3 days after the snow event that we do snow removal. We have been working in the village also to do snow removal. And the bridge there from McCarthy's to the post office, on the right-hand side, if you're going down towards the post office, that is not a sidewalk. We do clear the snow, and I just want to let people know that county does not do snow removal, not just in the village of Killaloe, it is in every other city. They do not do snow removal. It's up to the municipalities in everywhere in Renfrew County to do snow removal. So it takes time. We don't have quite the manpower that we need. Like I said, we try to get out the 2-3 days after. It just depends on equipment. It breaks down like everything else, and then we're doing snowbanks removals along the municipal roads, shoving back them with the trucks and the grader. We're also dragging the roads, like the gravel roads, with our dump truck, with the grader or the dragger on the back. And then the Round Lake boat launch grading, it had arrived there last 2 weeks ago, I guess it is, so it's in now. So we'll be putting that in the spring. Nothing to report at the waste site. The only other thing I have is, I guess Tammy might have printed that off there. Mr. Morgan had that letter sent. So if council wants to look at that, we can address that.
It's in correspondence.
The civic address.
Can we jump? Okay. So we'll jump ahead.
So is it on his property or?
It's on municipal property.
It's on municipal property.
Did you send that, put that in correspondence as well with the county email that I had sent? So in 2018, like this has been going on before I was even here. 2018, it was discussed. The OPP was involved. It is on municipal property. There's no issue with it. It's on municipal property. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
We dealt with this, lots. Sorry. And it says it obstructs his view. Well, it will sound like that, I know.
It's on municipal property.
We went through this how many times before the
I can't really count how many.
It's just a feud between two neighbors, that's what it is.
Yes, you're right.
That's all it is.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions for Dean? No. Good.
So we should send him a letter back, or what's council's?
That we've discussed it, and
Well, that it's on it's on municipal property, it's not on his property.
No, there's survey, like they had to get it surveyed, there's survey stakes there. Like we didn't survey, like municipality didn't, but it was
Yeah.
the property owner surveyed it.
anything else you want to add in the letter?
Nope.
Like, it's just, I don't know, should we say it's,
Do I need bills?
Examine the accounts.
Bills.
Yeah.
so we're not sending it?
We're sending them a letter.
Oh, good. Tell us on municipal property.
Yeah, I believe we gotta discuss this.
Further? Or which?
No, this, payment thing. Because we're wasting time every meeting. We discuss
this
it,
meeting.
yeah. We're sitting here voting on something that the bills have already been paid. It makes no sense to me. And as Tammy has told us, there's only 1 or 2 municipalities that do it anymore because it's a waste of time. Not sure why we do it.
I have a question though.
Well, if you have a question, you ask a question, like, we shouldn't be voting on, we're voting on something that's already been done, which is stupid, makes no sense.
I, Ted Brown, declare pecuniary financial interest with road and general voucher number 12, 2023.
Okay.
Me, 25875, it's probably for gravel, right, Glenn Wisniewski?
Winter's End.
Okay, that's fine. I got another one here. But, 25907. 2001-3175.
Who's it for?
Kevin Keel.
That would have been,
His payout, he wanted some bank time used.
Okay, great, thank you. That's all. Just wondering.
Mhm.
All done.
Any other questions?
No. You know it's always me, so.
moved by Maureen McMillan, second by Dale Smith, motion to approve road and general voucher number 12, 2023 in the amount of $1,051,252.43.
All those in favor? Carried.
I'm in grumpy.
Well, I guess this is probably the last time I'm gonna be able to say this. Chris, you're up.
Thank you very much.
Chief Counsel?
2,000 pages here.
2,000, yeah, it's under 2,000. So, first up on the list here is what I've called the KHR Community Development Guidebook. So the last couple weeks, I've been quite busy. Tammy can attest, pretty much coming here, writing, working, trying to do as much as I can. When I originally negotiated the time to do this was exactly what I wanted to do. I really care deeply about the people of this community and the ongoing development of the projects that we've got going here and the things that we've done. So I put an extensive amount of work into making sure that my successor is set up with a really strong footing for the future and to make sure that the things that we've done here keep going. So a lot of these documents and things that you've seen here, I know it's a lot, but I've done everything that I can, and I truthfully feel that I have given you everything that I can to set you up as best as you can for the future. And so I hope that it will go a long way into making sure that whenever you do end up having someone come into this position, that they will have a strong footing and know exactly what to do, how to do it, who to contact, and everything you need to know about this position. And that is what you've seen here. Now, this is obviously not the whole document because there's still a couple things I've got to finalize up here. And but I just wanted to show you kind of what I was getting into here. We'll flip right to the back, and you'll notice that there's 105 pages in this document. I have literally gone through everything I can possibly think of in this position and written it down here so that the person replacing me and also in the meantime, Tammy has what she needs to make sure that things that need to be done are getting done. However, I want council to know that I have gone ahead and tentatively booked things for Canada Day, including the entertainment and the sound production, as well as about halfway through the Irish Gathering. I've set all those wheels in motion. I've booked everything that needs to be booked tentatively right now out for the whole summer, as much as I humanly possibly could do, so that the person when they come in is not going to have to come from a position behind. So this is really a labor of love. I've said this many times, this is more than a job to me, and there are people in this community and things that we've done that just because I'm leaving here doesn't mean that they can't keep going, and that's what this is for. So that this person can have a foundation but have a canvas of their own to draw from, and council can know that everything that I've done here through these documents, through this guidebook, will stay in place and that they will live on long after I'm no longer here. So that is the community guidebook. That's pretty much everything I can possibly think of. Who knows what's going to get added, but that's 105 pages, probably going to be about 120, and hopefully that'll be enough to get them through. So the next document here that I want to go through that I've sent out to council already is the Killaloe Pathways Park Master Plan. Now, in echo of what I've said about the other documents, this is also a labor of love, and Kathy can attest to that. In the early days, when her and I and Phil walked through that fateful day with our snowshoes, we lost Phil in the bush on the other side. That we found him again. That, you know, that these things that we've done, that we've built, that they will stay, and that's my hope with these documents, that you will agree to them, and it gives you the flexibility and the tools for you to be able to carry on, and for that the person that steps in will be able to continue forward and know kind of where we're going and what we did. So I'm just very briefly going to go through this document, obviously not word for word, but the first part on page 3, the overview, gives a really good idea of what we've done here at Killaloe Pathways Park. All of the assets and the lot size, and gives a very good description for asset management and whatever purpose that you can see in a nutshell kind of what we've been up to. The next page that I'm going to guide you on to here is actually page 11. Now, this is the first time that we've actually listed everything in the park and listed the total value. And you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars of projects that have cost our township and the taxpayers nothing. These are all funded by grants and donations. And so I think it's really important to outline here the stuff that we've done, especially in such a short amount of time, and the importance of keeping this park and the organization behind it and the structures behind it in place, because it's clearly been effective and it's clearly worked, and there's a lot of things, and I hope that someday this is 2-3 pages long with all the stuff that we're going to have in Killaloe Pathways Park. But it gives you a really good idea of the stuff that we've done so far. The next thing that I want to bring up is the guiding principles, and I feel like that's really important for this park. This is, I think, honestly, in terms of grant funding, in terms of community engagement, in terms of getting people involved, I feel like this is probably the greatest asset of our park. And I'm just going to read you the intention and guiding statement, which is the Oh, sorry, Carl, page 4. Intention and guiding statement. The Killaloe Pathways Park supports the mental and physical well-being of Killaloe and area residents by fostering the intrinsic and reciprocal relationships between people and the natural world. Killaloe Pathways Park is a place of peace, where the public may come to enjoy the beauty and bounty of nature with minimal disruption in a safe, inclusive community gathering space. And so in here we've outlined everything from the advertising guidelines being discreet to the development guidelines, which are minimally invasive for projects to be built in respective of nature, educational, and supportive community well-being. The signage being trilingual, community engagement, and youth engagement, and KPP branding. The events and programs should be inclusive and must allow for the park to remain open to the public. And advertising guidelines, this is not a place to sell things, and that the public, it should not be a place where they're solicited or they're advertised to, and if they do, it should be very minimal. And all these program guidelines, and we've outlined in great detail how the trails are to be maintained and how this works, and the agreements that have been in place to make that happen. Next, I want to guide you over to the finance page here, which is really going to be important as we move through these next couple of things. And right here, this is the 2024 to 2026 budget, but when we go through the budget that I've prepared here, now I won't be going through the whole thing, but particularly Killaloe Pathways Park, you're going to see that we've outlined these things, and we've worked with the funders of these and made sure that they're all in line with what we're going to try to be doing. The big ticket item being the reading station removal and installation. because we did have a warranty replacement. Barco Products is going to replace all of those reading stations because they're leaking and install new ones, but we will have to pay for them to be installed. The mural sign printing and installation, mural framing, the prints, the road sign and printing, barn signage, and the structural assessment. So the big thing that we are going to be bringing here to the township, as you can see, this is our available funds, and we've allotted quite a bit of that to the projects that we have in 2024. But the main thing that Killaloe Pathways Park wants to do in conjunction with this municipality is show a financial contribution to what we all feel is very important, which is that structural assessment of the barn. That structural assessment of the barn is going to allow all this stuff as the next phase of all this. If you can get that structural assessment and it comes back, the process, which is outlined very clearly in here in the strategic action and the guidelines, is going to set the township up in a really good place to be making some revenue, to have a place where people can gather, and to have a very unique area where you can have multiple uses of community, including art galleries and performances and weddings. All these kinds of things are going to be extremely important in the future of Killaloe Haggerty Richards, and I hope that someday that I'll get invited to a wedding here or something. Mine, yeah, you're the ring bearer. So I really have done a lot of work working with my partners in the community to make sure that there's still some money left in reserve, but that the projects that we value and that we need to do are outlined here. I've also included this document right here, which is a sheet from Will's book, which backs up what I'm saying about the amount of money that we have in here. So I'm not just making this money up. So when you go and you see the requests that I'm going to be making for budget, don't be alarmed, because the majority of this money is coming from the already grant-funded reserve funds. So the next thing that I want to bring you up to is the budget, and you'll have to skip a little bit ahead to this budget overview. And inside here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right after detailed budget, the first one should be Killaloe Pathways Park. So inside here, it outlines in greater detail what we're going to be doing. And again, you'll see the majority of these in the notes say from KPP reserves. This is not coming from taxpayer dollars. This is coming from our reserves. The only thing that the group is asking for, and I'll be bringing that forward, is a commitment of half the cost of the structural assessment, because we have committed the other half, which we think is about $10,000. We budgeted 12 just in case, but the Killaloe Pathways Park Community Group is willing to give 50% of the cost from our reserves to help the township in our mutual goals of getting the structural assessment for the barn. And we hope that that's really going to help in the long run in the budget process to be able to get through any kind of obstacles that might be there by cutting that price exactly in half. The final piece is going to be back to this structure here, which is the organizational chart. And if you'll bear with me, I'll get you the exact page number, which is page 6. Now, the thing that's really important about these, which you're going to see, is the one thing that I feel is a bit unique to the style that we've done here for both of the agreements that I'm going to be bringing up there, or the documents, is that the organizational structures are relationship based. These are based off partnerships with the community, so that it allows them to have the freedom to be able to come to the group with ideas and projects and things that they want to do, and allows them the autonomy to be able to be their own group and do their own thing, but be part of a bigger structure here. And all of these community members in some way, shape, or form have been involved with different projects, whether it's through youth engagement or capital projects. And so you'll see here that we've outlined, Kathy is our chair. I will be volunteering my time to sit on this board, at least for the time of the transition and possibly longer. Because if anybody knows me, you know that I'm the kind of person that cares very deeply about things. And I want to make sure that I'm available so that I can help in any way organizationally that might need to be done, so that these projects can keep going until we're able to create a new agreement in 2027. where we're able to maybe change that up. But for now, in the meantime, I want to keep that going, because the one thing you have to remember with these relationship-based organizational structures like I'm showing you here is that it's based off the momentum that's going on in the community. All these projects, all these things, it's extremely important that we have these agreements in place, especially when I'm not going to be here physically working in the building, so that there's a structure and there's a common understanding of this is how things are done and this is the direction that we're going. And so I will be volunteering my time for that, but in the future we'll be looking at renewing that in 2026 to 2030 for the next term. And so I hope that council will appreciate the work that I've put into this to make sure that what we have all built, that you will now have the tools to keep that going. And by honoring this structure, by honoring this plan, I firmly believe that this organization will keep going and keep being successful, and down the road, hopefully there'll be many more renegotiating some of these agreements, and I then hope that I'm the kind of person someday that I can come and visit this park and see all the wonderful things that's been going on, and this is just the first step in many of a really, what I truly believe to be a one-of-a-kind project. So, with that in mind, I do have some approvals that are going to be coming up, but we're going to wait till that to do them all at once, because I really want to show you some more things here that we've been doing with this these other community groups. So with that in mind, I will, Kathy, I think we've got everything there. Is there anything else? Yeah? Okay. Thumbs up. So the next document that I'm going to show you is the Killaloe BIA Master Operational Plan. Now I apologize to council. As you can see, I have been doing a lot of writing, and I tried to get this out sooner, but honestly, with the time frame that I had, I just couldn't get it to you, so I hope that you'll forgive me. I am going to go very quickly over this because a lot of this has already kind of been established, but I just want you to kind of see, similarly with the Killaloe Pathways Park, that we put a lot of work and a labor of love into this. So the main thing will be this overview. Gives a brief history of the BIA, how it all started from the highway sign project, bring visitors into Killaloe, which we had a little bit of a hiccup with, but we are actually looking to get that rectified here in this year 2024. And you know, we had that, and then we had worked on this rural rewards program. Recently we've partnered with Killaloe Pathways Park to revive the original road sign. So actually what we're hoping to do is use, we've got a mural here finally completed by Genevieve Townsend. We want to use that mural as an advertising piece because the MTO did not like our use of arrows and the icons that we had. So we are going to be using this mural to basically attract people into the village. And when you see the mural in person, if you were at the open house of the library, you got to see a kind of quick snapshot of it, but this is the original watercolored. It's very vivid, it's very beautiful. Genevieve did a wonderful job. And so the Killaloe BIA is going to partner with Killaloe Pathways Park to help fundraise, to sell limited edition prints of this mural, as well as to help fundraise for the big sign that's going to go in Killaloe Pathways Park of this map, so all the businesses can sign up. And so it's because Killaloe Pathways Park is really a gateway into the community, and so those two relationships really sync up really well. The guiding principles on page 4, I'll show you that, is to support the economic growth and well-being of the village of Killaloe, to host events that draw visitors to the village of Killaloe, to support local business autonomy, and to work with the township Killaloe Haggerty Richards on shared goals and values. Now, this organizational structure is very similar to the relationship-based structure that we've had in Killaloe Pathways Park. Here you can see the board as it exists and all of the members listed on both these pages of the Killaloe BIA. I again will be volunteering my time to be able to help in the transition period of this until either a new person comes in or there are changes, upgrades to this agreement. And I feel like that, again, just like Killaloe Pathways Park, is just a way that we can make sure that there's someone that can help facilitate anything in the meantime, but again, also keeping that momentum going, keeping that structure in place so that until, these agreements, as you'll see in the back, they can be adjusted once they're agreed upon by whole of council by vote. But what it does just in the meantime is set up a strong structure so that in the meantime, this group can keep doing what they're wanting to do and not have to wait in the meantime while we're figuring it out, because we don't know when someone else is going to come into this position. And so it's incredibly important in the meantime that there's something in place that says what we're doing, plus for future reference of where we're trying to go. And so that's kind of what's broken down here in this organizational structure. The next piece is going to be finance, which I will be bringing a piece about the budget. But you're going to see here the BIA. We did talk with Will, our auditor, and we basically discovered that doing a BIA the traditional way is going to be a lot of work for our accounting processes. So for the last couple of years, we've basically had the Killaloe BIA as a budget line under community development. And so basically we're just looking to formalize that so that the BIA can basically have their budget in place for what they want to do, and they can go ahead and do it without having to wait until someone else comes here or that the budget is passed, because there are time-sensitive things on here that need to be done. And so you'll see we're going to be engaging that MTO permit and the signage rental. We have events here which are outlined, which you can look at after. And then the BIA cost share, there should be a minus in there, but basically the BIA is going to pay $800, which will cover that MTO permit. But we're hoping that the township, this budget here, will help support it. And if you want to go to page 9, you can see the events that we're hoping to do, including the Easter egg bargain hunt and the Killaloe Pathways Park, or the Christmas in Killaloe, which are going to be local shopping contests. The BIA Saturdays to bring people into downtown on the weekends, and of course the big event that we've had for the last couple of years, which is the Halloween big screen party here in Killaloe. And so basically how this will work in the future, other than this year, is the BIA will come to council with their budget, and that will get approved, and that will run exactly how it has this whole time, except for this is just more of a formal thing. And so the last, that's pretty much it. You can go through here and see, some of the future projects that we've been working on. This is a secret thing that I've had going for a long time, with the redevelopment of River Street, some other things in here. That's fun for you to read. There's no commitments to council on that, but that's just some of the ideas that they had and the strategic objectives. And like the other document, this will renew with the term of council, but can be voted on at any time and changed as long as there's a full consensus of council. So again, another labor of love, another thing where I've tried to do everything I can to put everything I know into a document, and hoping that you'll agree with this and that we can keep these structures in place. So the next piece that I have here is this budget. We're not going to go through this whole budget, but basically I wanted to have this complete in time for the next person that they come along. So really there's nothing that you really need to know about that. That will mainly all be reviewed at budget time, but since I had it ready, I wanted to share it with council just so that you can have that for your records. That will have to be all reviewed at budget time. However, there are going to be some things that I'm going to be bringing forward right now for approvals, and I hope that council will agree to these approvals. So just in while before we go through the approvals, there's some things that well, I guess we can just go through them, but they're referenced in the budget. So I have 7 items here that I'm hoping that council will agree to, and Tammy has respective motions prepared for all those, just in case. The first one is that KHR Council will accept the terms outlined in the Killaloe Pathways Park Master Plan as the governing document for all park operations for the 2022 to 2026 term of council. The next one is that KHR Council will approve the Killaloe Pathways Park budget in the amount of $28,550. Now you have to remember that the almost entire piece of that is already pre-funded. The only thing we're asking for is the additional $7,000, up to $7,000. We think it's going to be $5,000 for a cost share to commit to the structural assessment, which we will be paying half of. That KHR Council agrees to set the terms outlined in the document titled Killaloe BIA Organizational Plan 2022 as the government document for the BIA operations. KHR Council to approve the BIA budget, which is $3,000 allotted under economic development. And then the final 3 are pre-approvals of budget, because I need to have them for basically to make sure that the next person has this in place. The first one is $500 for Snow Fun. We want to do a dance party at the rink for Snow Fun. The second one is the plants. So we normally budget $2,000 for that, but we've identified that there's really nothing going on in Round Lake in terms of beautification for the park, and so we want to dedicate a small pilot project of $1,000, which Carl has agreed to help out with, to be able to, I might have to cut back and plant the flowers, we'll see. That we have that in place, so Carl can start doing that, but basically $1,000 for Cheryl Boyle Park, so that they can have some nice flowers and stuff, and see how that goes. And the final one that's not in here, but if you go to this last page, which is the dasher boards, we have gotten that grant obviously for the rink boards, and Dale will be looking after that as moving forward. But my counterpart Hannah Gutowski at Madawaska Valley made a really good recommendation to me, which is while we have this coming in place, we should invest $1,500 in the ad slips, which allows us to put advertising inside the boards. Madawaska Valley did this year, already paid for this over and over. So I think it would be a great, I've allotted it under advertisement, and I feel like we will at least in 2 years pay for it, if not sooner. And that allows us to have a avenue of revenue generation. And it also allows the community local businesses to be able to put up ads and stuff. We could also have our own stuff like Killaloo Pathways Park and whatever in there, so people coming to the rink could know where other things are. And Hannah has said that this is probably one of the best things that they did in terms of the boards, because they've already paid for themselves. And once it's paid for, obviously we have year after year after year of revenue, because the cost of doing the printing and everything would be incorporated into the ad cost. So we would be making money back hopefully in 2 years at the very most. And I feel like it's a really good investment. And the reason why I'm asking you to do it now is because we're gonna have to pay for the shipping for this. So if we do it at the same time when we get our grant, we're not gonna have to pay all that shipping to have this shipped out here. It will be included in the original thing that we've done. And so that is basically what I'm looking for from council. And again, the reason why this is because some of these I have to get in place before I go. And the other ones are because I want to make sure that these structures are in place and that they're agreed upon, so that the stuff like Pathways Park and the BIA that we built up for this community and those passion projects keep going in this change period and also into the future. So I don't know if you want to do that now or we wait till after, because I have 3 more things, but this is 4 years of work, basically, pretty good in half an hour. So
Why don't you finish off what you have, and then we'll ask questions. How's that?
okay. So the next piece I have is this plant and visitor caretaker, which is on the back of this sheet right here. So council had asked me to look at establishing a new position, because we wanted to make sure that the visitor center was covered, and that we had a plant caretaker as well. So what I've done is created a position with 35 hours a week, and how it would work is that from Tuesday to Saturday, 21 hours max. If you'll remember from the past, this position can work up to a certain amount on the flower caretaking, because some days it's going to be raining, and some days it's going to be too hot, and some days there's going to be things where there's not enough to do. So it allows them up to 21 hours maximum in a week to do the flower caretaking, and then 7 hours per day on Sunday and Monday. And that will make sure that that visitor information center is covered. It's really only adding a few extra hours on top of the plant caretaker position, and it's going to allow us to basically solve all our problems in terms of having that visitor center open for the community. And so Tammy will be bringing the exact particulars about wages and stuff up at another meeting, but I basically just wanted to share with council my idea for that, so that that'll give you something to work off of in the future whenever you do have that meeting. The next thing is the rink updates very quickly. Here's the rink schedule. Not too much has changed. Both rinks are open. I was just down at Killaloo to go see Jeff. The canteen is open. The parking lot is full, and there's people having a great time on the rink. So that's exactly what we want to see. It's a great visual if you go there and see all the kids playing and families interacting. I'm sure similar is going on at Round Lake. So we finally, Old Man Winter finally gave us enough cold to be able to have some ice. So I really just want to thank Jeff and Harold and Heather and everybody who has been involved in making the ice and doing all this stuff. We really appreciate it. I know it was a lot of work, but we finally got it done. So thank you for that. The second last piece I have is Kathy, if you will help me share this mural. So this mural is the original. This is the original piece that we've had done. I highly recommend that you come check it out.
So this is the original watercolor. The final park picture will have this in it, and then a legend to the right that will have all the sponsoring businesses identified and then tagged in the picture. So, so this is the beautiful original art, which we're hoping will be framed and kept that way.
Yes.
But then all the signage has yet to go in. So it looks a little basic now, but you can see, for example, you know, the visitor center, it's all there. So I think she's done a beautiful job. Every animal and every plant on this picture exists in Killaloe Pathways Park. So it's all, you know, and so the intent in that is if this is a huge sign, as you can come into Killaloe Pathways Park, it will tell you, you know, that there's an LCBO, it'll tell you there's a grocery store, it'll tell you where the post office is, it'll tell you, you know, what other business opportunities exist. And as many businesses as we can, we hope, will also have individual sponsorships of one of the 18 reading stations. So we'll be able to offer a sponsorship package to businesses that will allow them to be advertised in the map and then also on their choice of reading station. So this was just delivered to us today. I think it's good, yeah. So I invite you to take the opportunity to come and look at the detail on it, because it's really quite.
Yeah, it's quite amazing once you get up really close to it. We're really proud of it. So
Yeah.
if you don't stop to Killaloe once you see that, then I don't know what. So, and finally, I guess, farewell. This is officially my last meeting here at Killaloe Haggerty Richards. It has been quite the adventure. I've made so many great friends and so many great memories, and really this community has meant a lot to me, and I hope that what I've done here through these documents and through these plans and through all these things that might seem like a lot of words and stuff really sets you up for the future so that you can feel empowered to take off from where I've left off. And that the person that comes in here will have a strong foundation so that they can fly. And build the next chapter of Killaloe Haggerty Richards. So thank you, council, staff, community. It's been a pleasure.
Does anyone have any questions of Chris?
On age 73. And we'll have the barn ready for your wedding.
Perfect.
Oh.
That's next year also.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lead off with a couple first, okay? My first question is there a twin of you?
Well, it depends on how the science has advanced since I last checked. So far, no, but you'll be as good as you can to cloning me, but on paper with the community guidebook that I'm going to be giving you.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness. Is there a copy of a previous master plan, or is this?
This is the
one?
first.
This
All
is
these
one?
are the first. The guidebooks are first. The master plans are first. The organizational plans are first. It's all stuff that I've kept going myself and with my partners, and that's why I want to make sure that it was written down so that everyone knows where we're going and what we were doing.
Have we talked to Dean in regards to the very specific specs that are required of him to maintain the park?
Yep.
And he's okay with everything?
He's okay with everything, yeah.
Now, is this trail gonna be for 4 seasons?
Well, that will depend, if council would like to, at current time, there is no agreement with with the Corporation of the Township of Killarney Richards to do winter maintenance. I think it'd be a great idea to do it for sure, but I was grateful enough to Dean to accept the things that he did, and so if that's the desire of council, then I'm sure he would, I can't speak for him, but I'm sure he would be willing to help. But that is not currently outlined, but could be added for sure.
And I'm sure we're all aware that, you know, we have a lot of parks in our community. You know, Cheryl Boyle Park, Round Lake Park, including the rink, Station Park, Kilroy Rink, and now the Pathway Park, which is an unbelievable site. We have some major upgrades to be done, a major upgrade to be done at Station Park whenever we can fit that in. So that's just so that we all know that that's there. Page 9
Of
your path master plan.
yeah.
What happens when the 23,000 is gone?
So there still would be $2,046.12 left over. So realistically, we've done a pretty good job of mitigating any kind of cost to the municipality. And I mean, like, we had to replace the trail already. We had to replace these reading stations. So we've done quite a bit to make sure that the money that is required is there. In the future, there will also be fundraising initiatives that are going to happen. So there's the mural, limited edition mural prints that we're going to partner with the BIA to be able to fundraise for the park, as well as the reading stations, which are going to fund for the park, and any other additional things. And so year after year, what our plan is to basically have money coming in as income to build that reserves back up again. And we've invested that through the budget in the framing of the mural and the signs and everything like that. We feel like these investments will see a return over the term of this and beyond.
All the current projects that are listed on page 12, they're all covered on your budget on page 9, right?
Every single thing in here on page 12, mural prints, sign, structural assessment. Yes, the only thing is that we're asking for is half the cost of the structural assessment. And then future projects is basically what we want to do, but we'll have to figure that out. Current projects, other than the 50% of the barn assessment, is covered by grant funds.
Well, we're on the topic of the structural assessment. Was that the number? I think it was 7,500?
10,000.
That we talked about last year prior to the
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah,
So that document would still be close to the same.
that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah,
That's why we did 12.
we did 12 just
Just in
to, you know,
case.
because I'm sure costs have arisen, but.
Okay.
And that was just based on one estimate that we got, as a gift from the the engineering firm in Ottawa that was excited about the project, but there are local structural engineering firms as well. I'm assuming that would have to go out for a bid and everything else, but.
So some of my questions, like I wasn't here prior for other conversations, so
Okay.
my questions might be sort of
Yeah, no worries.
page 12 and 13. Current projects, park assets, future projects. Is the township equally or solely responsible for maintaining and replacing these assets? For example, the 2 greenhouses, one at 60 and one at 120. Who owns and insures those?
CRC,
Seriously.
Total?
100%.
And that is outlined in the agreements on page
Okay.
page 24.
CRC takes care of full operating costs and maintenance costs of the greenhouse and the gardens.
On page 12, the signage on Highway 17. Was that to be Highway 17?
Sorry, that should be 60. I mean, maybe, but not, it's not supposed to be
See, we're
60.
far reaching in our advertising, aren't we?
Yeah.
On the 17th.
No, that's supposed to be 60.
Now, when those signs go up, is there like a recurring cost or is there a highway replacement cost?
So the recurring cost is at $500. Now that will be basically year after year, so we could terminate that if we decide that's not what we want to do. But you know, traditionally a BIA would submit the budget for similar things, and so this is kind of just to make sure that the BIA is going to pay for there's two costs basically. There's the MTO permit, which is a 5-year contract, which is paid up front, which the BIA is going to cover. The other part is a yearly from the landowner. And so that is basically year after year for 5 years, but that can be changed every year basically depending on what we want to do. But I feel like, especially if you look at that mural, that's for $500, that's a really good investment to bring people off the highway into Killaloe Pathways Park. And so that's kind of what we were thinking with that would be as part of our budget for economic development and for the village.
What is the status of the grant for the washroom?
So the status of the grant for the washroom, we had to give that grant back because we couldn't meet their timeline that they wanted. They basically gave us the grant in September or October, and we had to have it completed by March, which is basically impossible to do. So we had to give that money back, unfortunately. But we have everything ready to go for this project. And in that project, it's kind of good that didn't happen because we, at the time, assumed that we'd be able to use the septic system that's in place there, and that's been determined that we most likely won't be able to. And so the new budget for the proposed project will include basically everything, hoping for the best, but assuming for the worst. And that's actually already designed. That's a shovel-ready project, ready to go.
I know it was halfway through the year last year, but can you gauge, do we have a good turnout to the park or the usage of it?
I
know I've driven past and seen numerous times cars there, lots of cars, but is there a way to measure, or do we just?
I mean, I think if we wanted to do a study on that, we could. There might be grants for that for sure. Might be a good job for a summer student to kind of keep track of that. Or we could set up a guest sign-in book that we could have there. People could sign it, or a QR code. That might even be, of the future. So that people can sign in and say, hey, I was at Killaloe Pathways Park, and they can leave a note. And that's something that one of our partners, maybe Annie, can help out with. Because we have a very tech-savvy person in our arsenal of community people here, so that's definitely something that we could look at and a great way to measure who's coming into the park, because that's very good information to have for grant writing purposes.
Big time, and the government loves numbers, so
yeah.
The more numbers we can provide, we never know what we might get.
Yeah.
We'll just have a couple more.
Yeah, no worries.
About the groups are there the groups that are associated? Are they carrying insurance also to cover their responsibilities for activities and maintenance and replacement costs for the many items purchased and created through the grant money that will be needed to maintain and restore in the future? So, or is the township going to shoulder the expense of the insurance for that responsibility?
So it depends on what kind of thing you're looking at, but most of these are township assets. Anything listed in park asset is, other than the greenhouse, is owned by the municipality, managed by the municipality. But there are things in the park, for example, whenever the Pathways of Resistance Festival came in, they provided their own insurance, they have their own stuff, and they've also, in the agreements, they've agreed to maintain that trail and their portion of that. So we kind of built that all in to the front end of it. So that basically anytime something new comes up that's not done by the township, that there's some sort of agreement, for example, with the greenhouse of who's going to be responsible for that, or like the Pathways of Resistance, or any of the community groups that might be using it Now, a lot of that stuff is very low-key activity, like the partridge run or those kind of things, the zombie run, that stuff that's happening there. But anything that is capital is already outlined in the agreements on, I believe it's page 24. And they will be updated as new stuff hopefully comes along. But yes, they are all looked after. Anything that's not ours is looked after.
So basically, who is going to be in control of the project?
So Killaloe Pathways Park is a conglomerate of all these community groups, right? So we've got Kathy, our chair, who's and myself, who's volunteering as vice chair to keep that going. But the way the structure works, like I've mentioned, in relationship based, is it's very informal, but also gives the autonomy for these groups to do their own things. So as I've outlined here in the procedures, anyone who has these kind of ideas or things does have to bring it to the Killaloe Pathways Park community group first. That group decides as a committee, there's different committees broken up in here, or there's groups. We all talk about it and we say, okay, that's cool, maybe we should do this, whatever. And then those new ideas are brought forward to council. And they're approved by council. And then that's updated in a revised version of this. Or what's probably more likely, because we've done a pretty good job of outlining for the next term, that will come in the new agreement. Anything new that they want to do. So you'll see a clone basically of what I've done here in terms of budget every year. That'll all be approved by council. Any new projects, that'll be approved by council, but it goes through the structure first to have the community group have their own autonomy to be able to talk about what they want to do, and then that gets brought forward to council. So really all of this that hasn't been outlined in here in the future, and I think that says in future projects and somewhere in here, that basically those will all be brought forward to council, voted on and discussed, and that way it gives everybody an open forum to decide what they want to do, and council gets the ability to decide if that's something they agree with or they don't.
Okay. I don't mean to take up the whole time here, but I have one more question.
15 minutes or so.
Okay. Would it be possible to set up a link to the KPP website on our website, and to put a description of the park on our website as well as under the visiting tab? Currently it still has Hope Farm.
Absolutely, we can absolutely do that. Our friend Annie can help us with that, as well as Tammy or whoever's going to upload that onto our website, but we can get Annie to prepare something. I mean, I'm speaking out of turn, but knowing Annie, he's going to probably say yes, and that he'll help out with that process and submit something to Tammy and get that on our website whenever.
I think that would be a good hit.
Yeah, for
Put
sure.
that on.
We also have our own website, so that
because
can link in.
it's ours, and
Yep.
not just the website, but in the park. So why not promote it?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Sorry. Ted, you had a question.
That you can't wait to start your new job, eh? Yeah, just a couple things on the motions that you want approved.
Yeah.
Snow fund, that won't affect the dance at the lines?
No,
No.
shouldn't.
Okay.
When we last talked with the group, they were gonna do the Friday. I'm getting my dates next
Okay.
here, but whatever.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, whatever the Friday they're not doing something is that. Yeah.
I just don't wanna get anybody mad at us.
No, and we've communicated them that we're gonna do that, so everyone's above board on that one.
Number 2 there, the structural assessment, we absolutely have to support that because we talked about that in
Last
the
year.
past council as
No,
well.
last year we did too.
Last year, the past council, we have to get rolling on that to start bringing stuff into town, into the township. What was the other one? Oh, that, the signage for the boards. Is that on the indoor rink or outdoor rink in Braves Bay?
Indoor.
Will not stand up in the cold?
As far as I'm aware, that system should work because what they'll do is they'll make a very thin plastic piece and go in so so it will be weather resistant in and of itself in case water gets in there. But as far as I'm aware, there is a ridge that snaps in, so that it does create a barrier for weather.
So the dimensions of the sign, 4 by 8, or the clear polycarbonate?
What are you referring to, sir?
This,
On your sheet?
Oh, that thing? Yeah, that's wouldn't be specifically for ours. That's just basically that's for their
This is
system.
just an example?
That's an example, yeah.
Okay.
So I budgeted 15 just in case, because right now we'll get a tax receipt, a tax refund on it, and I don't think it will be exactly the same size because theirs is official ring size, and we can always just do it in the more prominent areas. But I think it is to go all the way around their rink, and then like talking to Hannah, she said they've already paid for it.
Oh, yeah, of
this year.
course, the ads will, yeah, if you get sponsorship, yeah.
Yeah.
But what, I was just worried about the dimension, if that covers the entire rink.
No, I would have to bring, basically we will, when Dale investigates this, Dale will bring you a full thing. It's basically, I just wanted to have that wheels in motion so that he could know that he has that budget approved up to that, and if he needs more, he'll have to reach out to council for an additional approval. I can't see it being more than this because this is for their system, which is larger than ours.
Yes, sir.
okay, I don't disagree with the signs here, but you think you're gonna get people to advertise on our boards, which only children see when they're skating? No adults are gonna look on this and say, I gotta go here, I gotta go there.
Oh my gosh, people play pickleball. All the adults
the
go and play
pickleball, yeah.
pickleball.
Okay, sorry. I'm just thinking of winter kids.
Yeah.
No, but all those kids that come there have to be driven there.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
I seriously think at the most you'd be looking at 2 years to pay that off. Like
Yeah.
most. I'd be surprised if it takes that long.
The only question I'd have is if our businesses in our community can handle that, the cost of it. And I don't know what the cost will be,
Yeah.
you know, to put a rink board, but.
Well, if you did 100, there's more than 15 spots. If you did 100 a spot, you paid for 15 people. So I think we would have to, council will have to figure out the price points on that. But the reason why I brought it forward is so you're not paying, like the shipping for that is probably going to be just as much as what they actually cost. So that's why I wanted to bundle it in with that, because it's going to save you money in the long run.
I forget what Barry's base was, but it was very reasonable, I know, because I almost considered it for my business. Like when I saw what they were charging to
Yeah.
have your name on the boards, it was actually quite reasonable. So the fact that they filled that, and we have to remember we have big businesses here that would, like construction companies and builders, like I think we would have no trouble filling that with all of the businesses we have. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, should we go one by one?
Okay, so the first one I have is moved by Maureen McMillan, second by Harold Levine. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Killaloe, Hagerty and Richards agrees to accept the terms outlined in the document titled Killaloe Pathways Park Master Plan 2022 to 2026 as the governing document for all park operations for the 2022 to the 2026 term of council.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Carl Keel. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Killaloe, Hagerty and Richards approves the 2024 Killaloe Pathways Park budget amount of $28,550 allotted under community development and commits to the procurement of a structural assessment of the Killaloe Pathways Park barn in 2024.
Any discussion? I have one discussion point.
Sure.
So should it read 2855 or should it read 2855 less what you have in the bank?
Well, we already, like the budget itself, because it's coming from reserves, has to be done that way so that it's like, this is the whole budget that we're approving. It includes mainly grant funded stuff, but in terms of the financial process, how that's done.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Carried.
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Maureen McMillan. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Killaloe, Hagerty and Richards agrees to accept the the document titled Killaloo BIA Organizational Plan 2022 to 2026 as the governing document for all BIA operations for the 2022 to 2026 term of council.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Maureen McMillan, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Killaloo, Hagerty and Richards approves the 2024 BIA budget amount of $3,000 allotted under economic development.
Any discussion? Do you think we should do this one here now, or should we wait till the finance meeting? Do we do our budget?
A lot of those things have to be kind of set in motion because those ads and stuff all have to be bought like now.
I'm comfortable doing that, so I do now.
When we read the motion.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
Moved by Maureen McMillan, second by Carl Keel, be it resolved that council of the corporation of the township of Killaloo, Hagerty and Richards approves the 2024 snow fund budget amount of $500 allotted for community development under other cultural events.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Carl Keel, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Killaloo, Hagerty and Richards approves the 2024 plants budget amount of $3,000 allotted for outdoor parks.
Discussion? Let's practice. Plan, plants. All those in favor? Carried.
I got a plant in my mouth.
Oh, come on.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Carl Keel, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Killaloo, Hagerty and Richards approves the 2024 advertising budget in the amount of $1,500 for ad slips for the new Killaloo ring boards allotted under community development.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
I have a motion. I want to like fair motion, but can't leave.
I have one question before those leave though regarding the ranks. I had a call today from a taxpayer, and I'm not sure how it works with the hockey because I haven't been involved in it in a long time down there, but he was down there with a couple smaller children that wanted to play hockey. You can't take sticks until 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, the big kids come out and want to have their scrimmage, and they made the little kids get off the ice. And I have a bit of a problem with that. So I'm not sure.
We can talk with is Killaloo?
Yeah.
Ted?
So like if there's a bunch there that want to play, that's fine, but they're gonna have to play half ice or something. You
I
can't.
think that's reasonable,
You
yeah.
can't take the little kids off the ice. They're only going there for an hour.
I think that's more than fair, and
I don't know if somebody could talk to Jeff.
I'll gladly talk to Jeff if that's okay with everybody else. I'll talk to Jeff and just say, Jeff is pretty community minded like that as well,
Yeah.
so I'll just say, you know, we heard this and I'm very confident that he'll make sure that those kids are able to play because that's what it's for.
That's right. Perfect. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions of Chris?
No, just good job. Like, boy, you have left the next person so in such good hands. Like, so well prepared. You've done so much work
Means a lot
and
to
poured
me.
your heart into all of these documents. So, yeah, you're gonna be like, very missed.
I will miss all of you very much, guys. Thank you.
Expect to see you at Dyer's Gather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some research from the other perspective.
We'll be
Oh, yeah.
chipping in and buying a chair at the beer tent.
Yes, exactly. Well, council, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you all around. And thank you for all of this and all your kind words. It means a lot. So, good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Remember me at your wedding, eh?
How could I forget, Carl?
We're gonna be right beside him.
Carl, you'd be the
Couldn't be
cutest
right
little
beside
ring
him.
bearer.
You have to wear one of those little bow ties.
I got my dad's blue
Hi.
Johnny Carson suit at home. I gotta wear. See you, Tony.
John, yes.
at everybody's desk, I put the taxation policy and procedures for council's review. The policies and procedures committee has already reviewed this policy, so it's now coming to the full council stage. So if full council could take a look at it, review it, and let me know if there's any changes that need to be made, if there's any questions about it, if there's anything that maybe it's missing from there, and if you could let me know. And I hope to bring a resolution to the next council meeting to adopt the policy. So if it could be done by then, that would be great. And then the other thing that I have is Bontrae Snowmobile Club, the sponsorship. Now I know that originally council had asked that it be forwarded to for budget deliberations. However, they're wanting to get signage out ASAP. So they're asking if council would approve the request of to become a new sponsor at a cost of $260 for I think it's six signs. I think it says in the six signs.
Six
yes.
locations.
So I have a resolution prepared for council's review, so I have moved by Carl Peel, second by Ted Brown. The council for the township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards hereby agrees to become a new sponsor for the Bontrae Snowmobile Club at a cost of $260, which includes the $100 annual fee plus $40 for the layout production plus $90 for posting at each of the 6 locations plus HST.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
And that's all I have.
Let's move to correspondence. The first one, Resolution Bill 3, Strong Mirrors, Building Home Acts. Second one, Resolution MOE to expand use of permit by rule. Third one, Resolution Water and Wastewater Unaffordable Rates. And we have a resolution prepared.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards supports the resolution received from the Township of Whitewater region regarding water and wastewater unaffordable rates, and also supports advocacy for additional financial support from the provincial and federal levels of government. Whereas the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards agrees with the Township of Whitewater region that rural and small urban water and wastewater systems are financially unsustainable, and supports the request to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Rural Ontario Municipalities Association, and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to examine if the unaffordability of water and wastewater system operational costs is systematic provincially and nationally, and further that this resolution be circulated to MP Cheryl Gallant, MPP John Yakubuski, AMO, Roma, FCM, and all municipalities within the County of Renfrew, County of Renfrew Warden Peter Eman, and the City of Pembroke.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Okay,
And the next one, AMO, Social and Economic Prosperity Review. Resolution prepared.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Bill Smith, whereas current provincial municipal fiscal arrangements are undermining Ontario's economic prosperity and quality of life. Whereas nearly a third of municipal spending in Ontario is for services in areas of provincial responsibility, and expenditures are outpacing provincial contributions by nearly $4 billion a year. Whereas municipal revenues such as property taxes do not grow with the economy or inflation. Whereas unforeseen population and housing growth will require significant investments in municipal infrastructure. Whereas municipalities are being asked to take on complex health and social challenges like homelessness, supporting asylum seekers, and addressing the mental health and addiction crisis. Whereas inflation, rising interest rates, and provincial policy decisions are sharply constraining municipal fiscal capacity. Whereas property taxpayers, including people on fixed incomes and small businesses, can't afford to subsidize income redistribution programs for the most in need. Whereas the province can and should invest more in prosperity of communities. Whereas municipalities and the provincial government have a strong history of collaboration. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards requests that the Province of Ontario commit to undertaking with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario a comprehensive social and economic prosperity review to promote the stability and sustainability of municipal finances across Ontario. And further, that this resolution be forwarded to Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Premier Doug Ford, MP Cheryl Gallant, MPP John Yakubowski, and all Ontario municipalities.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Can you repeat that?
Come on.
More, okay.
Association of Ontario Road Supervisors.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan, whereas municipal public works departments from across the province of Ontario providing valuable services to our communities, ensuring the health and safety of all residents. And whereas if it was not for our municipal public works employees from across the province of Ontario maintaining our public road systems, our communities would not be able to function as emergency personnel, could not respond to calls, school buses could not get our children to school, residents would not be able to get to work, school or appointments and many more basic functions would not be able to happen. And whereas municipal public works departments are already feeling the impacts of a labor shortage, which will only be exacerbated over the next 3 to 5 years, which will cause levels of service municipalities are able to provide to ensure the health and safety of their residents to decrease. And whereas there is currently no provincial-wide course that properly trains potential municipal works employees specifically relating to municipal heavy equipment. Therefore, be it resolved that Council for the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards supports the work of the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors to develop a municipal equipment operator course to address this issue, and that Council for the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards calls on the Province of Ontario's Ministry of Labour, Training, Immigration and Skilled Trades to fully fund the municipal equipment operator course in 2024 through the Skills Development Fund, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Minister of Labour, Training, Immigration and Skilled Trades, David Sheeny, MPP John Yakubowski, and the Association of Road Supervisors.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. And the Terry Moore we discussed already.
Yep.
So now we're into bylaws. We have 3 bylaws to be read. First one is 02/2024.
Moved by Maureen McMillan, seconded by Ted Brown, that bylaw 02/2024 being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing of money to meet current expenditures of council of the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards be given its first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 16th day of January 2024.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 3/2024.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan, that bylaw 03/2024 being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy and a payment of interim taxes, and to provide for penalty and interest of 1 1/4% for the year 2024 for the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards, be given its first, second, and third reading and finally passed the 16th day of January 2024.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 4/2024.
Moved by Maureen McMillan, second by Ted Brown, that bylaw 04/2024 be given being a bylaw to appoint members of the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards Committee of Adjustment, be given its first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 16th day of January 2024.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business?
I guess unfinished business question there. Aaron had asked me about the youth council.
Yeah, it was a bad weekend. She was away.
Yeah.
One was sick and 2 university students, so, which is too bad. I thought during the break might have been a good opportunity to get the kids together, or any other kids, and didn't materialize, unfortunately. Is there any new business? Can I have the motion of the confirming bylaw?
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Harold Levine, that bylaw 05-2024 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the township of Killoughby, Hagerty, Acres at its regular meeting held on January the 16th, 2024, beginning its first, second, and third reading, and finally passed the 16th day of January 2024.
All those in favor? Carried. And motion to adjourn.
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Maureen McMillan, motion to adjourn the regular council meeting of January 16th, 2024 for the township of Killoughby, Hagerty, Acres.
All those in favor? Carried.
Is that your first meeting? You made it all?
Yeah, you made it all the way through.